Welcome back to AI for the Humanities. I'm Megan McInnes Dominguez, Associate Professor of Spanish at the University of Delaware, and this channel is your go-to resource for exploring the intersection of generative AI and humanities education. We'll dive into the latest developments in large language models, as well as image and video generation tools, discussing their benefits, challenges, ethical considerations, and practical applications in your classes. Our goal is to examine how these powerful tools relate to humanities education and how the humanities can shape the future of AI. Today, we're covering what may be the most eventful month in AI development since ChatGPT first launched. November 2025 has witnessed an extraordinary convergence of major model releases, massive infrastructure investments, concerning data breaches, and pivotal policy decisions that will fundamentally shape how we integrate AI into educational contexts. We'll explore OpenAI's surprisingly quick release of ChatGPT 5.1, just 3 months after GPT-5, Google's record-breaking Gemini 3 model that's redefining what AI can accomplish, the launch of Nano Banana Pro with its troubling implications for image authenticity, a Chinese cyber attack that used AI to automate hacking operations, $50 billion data center investments, and critical policy decisions about the role of government in AI development. Each of these developments carries profound implications for humanities educators, scholars, and students. As we navigate through today's episode, I want you to consider not just what these technologies can do, but what they mean for how we teach, how we learn, and ultimately how we understand what it means to be human in an age of artificial intelligence. Let's dive in. Just 3 months after launching GPT-5 in August 2025, OpenAI released GPT 5.1 on November 12th in what appears to be a direct response to widespread user complaints about the original model's perceived coldness and lack of emotional warmth. According to OpenAI's announcement, GPT 5.1 is warmer, more intelligent, and better at following your instructions, with early testing revealing that users were, and I quote, surprised by its playfulness while remaining clear and useful. This rapid iteration represents a significant departure from OpenAI's previous release cadence and reveals important insights about the relationship between technical capability and user satisfaction. The update introduces 2 distinct variants. GPT 5.1 Instant serves as the default conversational model, now tuned to sound more natural and personable while obeying explicit instructions. Meanwhile, GPT 5.1 Thinking, the advanced reasoning model, has been optimized to be, and I quote, easier to understand and faster on simple tasks, more persistent on complex ones. Perhaps most significantly, this marks the first time that adaptive reasoning has been introduced into the instant model. The system can now intelligently decide when to engage deeper thinking for complex questions, resulting in more thorough answers while maintaining quick responses for simple queries. In practice, OpenAI reports that GPT 5.1 Thinking is roughly twice as fast on the fastest tasks and twice as slow on the slowest tasks, dynamically adjusting its computational effort based on question complexity. OpenAI has also introduced enhanced personality controls, allowing users to select from presets, including default, friendly, efficient, professional, candid, quirky, cynical, and nerdy. This customization acknowledges that different contexts and users require different communication styles. The model demonstrates improved compliance with explicit constraints, such as producing exactly 6 words when instructed, addressing a common frustration where previous models ignored tight formatting or length instructions. An improved auto-rotating routing feature can automatically recommend which model to use per task, though users retain manual control over their selection. The rollout began with paid users across Pro, Plus, Go, and Business plans on November 12th, with broader availability to free and logged-out users following in subsequent days. Learning from the backlash when GPT-5 first launched and was essentially replacing GPT-4o overnight, OpenAI is committed to keeping GPT-5 available for at least 3 months, allowing users time to adapt and compare the models at their own pace. For humanities educators, the GPT 5.1 release raises profound questions about the relationship between AI personality and pedagogical effectiveness. The previous ChatGPT 5 model, while technically superior on benchmarks, faced widespread criticism for lacking the emotional engagement that many users, including students, had become accustomed to expect with GPT 4.0. This reveals a fundamental tension at the heart of educational AI use. Do we want tools that feel human-like and emotionally supportive, or do we prefer straightforward, task-focused assistants that maintain clear boundaries between human and machine interaction? This tension is particularly significant for humanities education because many students have been using ChatGPT not just as a research tool, but as a form of intellectual companion, a thinking partner that provides encouragement and validation alongside information. The strong backlash against ChatGPT 5's more clinical tone suggests that for many users, the emotional dimension of AI interaction matters as much as its technical capabilities. As tech critic John Gruber noted, the new default response includes phrases like, "I've got you," and "especially with everything you've got going on lately," even though ChatGPT has no actionable knowledge of what's going on in a user's life. This represents a form of artificial empathy that could blur important boundaries between tool and companion. This development presents valuable teaching opportunities. We can use the personality controls to model different approaches to inquiry, perhaps using the efficient personality for factual research while employing professional mode to model academic writing conventions. The improved ability to follow precise constraints becomes valuable for structured assignments where we want to demonstrate specific rhetorical moves or analytical frameworks. Most importantly, the adaptive reasoning capability models an essential metacognitive skill, recognizing when a question requires careful analysis versus quick response. However, we must remain aware that the default warmer tone may encourage uncritical acceptance of AI-generated content. Students who develop emotional attachments to AI systems may be less likely to question their outputs or seek human guidance when facing complex intellectual challenges. This makes it more important than ever that we explicitly teach students about the nature of AI systems, help them understand the difference between simulated empathy and genuine human connection, and foster the critical distance necessary for effective tool use. Just 6 days after OpenAI's GPT 5.1 release, on November 18th, Google unveiled Gemini 3, its most advanced AI model to date, marking a significant escalation in the AI model competition. The timing was surely no coincidence. Described by Google as our most intelligent model, Gemini 3 achieved a record-breaking 1501 ELO score on the LM Arena leaderboard, becoming the first model ever to surpass the 1500-point threshold. On Humanities' last exam, a particularly challenging benchmark designed to test advanced reasoning across multiple domains, Gemini 3 scored 25.4% without tools, outperforming its competitors, including ChatGPT 5. The Gemini 3 Heavy variant, described as a multi-agent system that spawns multiple AI agents to collaborate on problems like a study group, achieved an even more impressive 44.4% with a tool accessed on the same benchmark. What truly distinguishes Gemini 3, however, is not just its benchmark performance, but its fundamental shift in capability from question answering to autonomous workflow execution. According to Google DeepMind CEO Demis Hassabis, previous AI models would typically lose their train of thought around steps 5 or 6 of complex reasoning chains. Gemini 3, in contrast, reliably completes 10 to 15 coherent logical steps, enabling complex task execution without constant human oversight. This represents what Google calls, and I quote, genuine multi-step problem solving that mirrors human analytical processes. Consider the practical implications. When you tell Gemini 3 to organize your inbox, it doesn't ask for step-by-step instructions. Instead, it categorizes messages by importance, flags items requiring responses, drafts reply suggestions, groups similar emails, and presents organized results. This is a qualitative leap from traditional AI that requires constant human direction. Google provides an even more complex example, asking the system to write a thank you email mentioning 3 key points from yesterday's meeting, attach 2 relevant images, and include the meeting notes link. Previous AI models would require you to break this into multiple queries, manually retrieve documents, and assemble components yourself. Gemini 3 handles the entire workflow autonomously, retrieving meeting records, extracting core discussion points, searching your document library for relevant images, generating shareable links, composing the email in an appropriate tone, and outputting a complete draft ready to send. Gemini 3's advanced multimodal understanding processes text, image, video, audio, and code simultaneously within a context window of up to 1 million tokens. For perspective, that's equivalent to roughly 750 novels or 700 research papers. The model can seamlessly analyze a film clip alongside scholarly criticism, process manuscript images and historical context, or examine museum artifacts through photographs while accessing relevant academic literature. This sophisticated multimodal processing opens unprecedented possibilities for humanities scholarships and pedagogy. Alongside Gemini 3, Google released a new agentic development platform called Google Anti-Gravity, which combines a ChatGPT-style prompt window with a command line interface and browser window for multi-pane agentic coding. Google DeepMind CTO Corey Cavasculo explained that the agent can work with your editor across your terminal, across your browser, to make sure that it helps you build that application in the best way possible. Additionally, a deep think mode designed for the most demanding reasoning workloads and long horizon planning will roll out to premium and ultra-tier subscribers in the coming weeks. Perhaps most remarkably, Gemini 3 launched simultaneously across Google's entire ecosystem, reaching 2 billion users instantly through Google Search AI mode and 650 million users through the Gemini app. No competitor can match this one-day distribution scale, giving Google an immediate advantage in user adoption and feedback collection. For humanities educators, Gemini 3's release represents a paradigm shift from AI as a question-answering tool to AI as autonomous workflow executor. This has profound implications for how we conceptualize and teach research, writing, and analytical skills. Consider a traditional humanities assignment, writing a research paper on the influence of colonial discourse in Latin American modernist poetry. Traditionally, this requires students to formulate research questions, locate and evaluate sources, read and annotate primary texts, synthesize information across sources, develop an original argument, structure that argument coherently, and revise and refine their work. With Gemini 3's agentic capabilities, much of this workflow could potentially be automated. The crucial question becomes, which parts of this process are we actually trying to teach, and which are merely scaffolding for deeper learning? Gemini 3's sophisticated multimodal processing opens new possibilities for humanities scholarship and pedagogy. Students could upload images of manuscript pages and receive transcripts with contextual analysis, analyze film clips alongside scholarly texts to explore cinematic adaptation, process audio recordings of oral histories with simultaneous textual and cultural analysis, or examine museum artifacts through images while accessing relevant historical scholarship. This capability could democratize access to primary sources that have traditionally required specialized training to interpret. However, it also risks flattening the interpretive work that defines humanities scholarship. If students can receive instant comprehensive analysis of complex cultural artifacts, will they develop the patient attention and nuanced interpretation that characterized expert humanistic inquiry? The scale of Gemini 3's deployment is equally significant. Its immediate availability to 2 billion users through Google Search means that humanities educators can no longer assume students encounter AI tools in controlled educational contexts. Instead, AI-mediated information is becoming the default mode of knowledge access for an entire generation. When students search for information about historical events, literary movements, or philosophical concepts, they increasingly receive AI-generated syntheses rather than direct access to primary and secondary sources. This shift requires us to fundamentally rethink how we teach research methodology and source evaluation. We can leverage Gemini 3's agentic capabilities to demonstrate the research process transparently, helping students understand the decisions involved in source selection and synthesis. We might have students complete research questions both with and without Gemini 3 to understand what the tool adds and what it might obscure. We should develop assignments that leverage its multimodal capabilities while requiring students to critically evaluate the AI's interpretations. However, we must remain vigilant about the risk that Gemini 3's 1 million token context window, while technically impressive, could encourage a form of comprehensive analysis that actually discourages close reading. If students can upload entire novels or archives and receive instant synthesis, they may miss the slow, careful attention that characterizes deep engagement with texts. 2 days after Gemini 3's launch on November 20th, Google unveiled Nano Banana Pro, officially designated as Gemini 3 Pro Image, representing a significant upgrade to its viral image generation and editing tool. Built on Gemini 3 Pro's advanced reasoning capabilities, Nano Banana Pro addresses one of the most persistent problems in AI image generation: the ability to render legible, accurate text directly inside images. Where earlier models across the industry notoriously distorted words or inserted nonsensical lettering, the new version now renders accurate text in multiple languages, fonts, and styles, from short taglines to longer paragraphs. This breakthrough unlocks the ability for users to create complex infographics, technical diagrams, and marketing posters in multiple languages while preserving stylistic coherence. Nano Banana Pro supports 2K and 4K image generation, compared to the original Nano Banana's 1024 by 1024 pixel cap, offering enhanced creative control where users can specify camera angles, depth of field, focus, lighting, and color grading through text prompts. The model can blend up to 14 input images into a single scene, crucially maintain the consistent resemblance of up to 5 individuals across different generated images. This capability has significant applications for storyboarding, character development, and large-scale advertising campaigns. Additionally, the model connects to Google's search's vast knowledge base, allowing it to create quick snapshots for recipes, visualize real-time information like weather or sports, and generate context-rich infographics based on current data. These advanced capabilities come at a cost. While the original Nano Banana charged just under 4 cents per 1024 pixel image, Nano Banana Pro costs nearly 14 cents for each 1080p or 2K image and 24 cents for every 4K image. The model is rolling out across Gemini app, Google Workspace tools including Slides and Vids, NotebookLM, Google Ads, Google AI Studio, and through integration with Adobe Creative Cloud. Interestingly, Adobe's integration offers what may be the most cost-effective route to unlimited Nano Banana image generation. While Google's AI Pro plan starts at $20 per month with generation limits, Adobe Firefly's plan runs just $10 per month, potentially offering better value for users requiring high-volume image creation. However, Nano Banana Pro's most controversial feature involves its watermarking policy, which creates a troubling two-tier system. While free and standard paid users will see visible watermarks on their generated images, Google's $250 per month Ultra subscribers can remove visible watermarks entirely. All images retain Google's invisible Synth ID watermark for detection purposes, but only if one has access to Google's detection tools. As Hot Hardware noted, this policy, I quote, reserves the ability to create near undetectable, photorealistic deepfakes for Google's most affluent users, making the already difficult task of discerning AI content from real photography arguably impossible for the average Joe. For humanities educators teaching media literacy, critical thinking, and visual analysis, Nano Banana Pro presents both exciting opportunities and serious ethical challenges. The ability to generate accurate text within images makes Nano Banana Pro valuable for creating infographics, diagrams, and visual arguments. Students studying rhetoric or communication could use this to explore how textual and visual elements interact to create meaning. Historians could create informed visualizations of historical scenes based on textual descriptions, making abstract historical concepts more accessible, though this might be done with extreme care to avoid presenting speculative reconstructions as historical fact. For language educators, the ability to generate accurate text in multiple languages within images could support cross-cultural communication studies and translation pedagogy. Yet the watermark policy creates profound problems for information integrity and educational equity. How do we teach students to evaluate visual evidence when the technical means to verify authenticity are unevenly distributed based on economic status? Students must learn to distinguish between evidence-based historical visualization and imaginative reconstruction, between documentary photography and AI-generated simulation. The tool's capability to generate convincing historical images based on text descriptions could lead to the circulation of speculative reconstructions as if they were documentary evidence. Like other image generation models, Nano Banana Pro was trained on vast internet datasets that likely include copyrighted works and culturally significant images without permission or compensation. Using such tools raises ethical questions about participation in systems that may exploit creative labor and appropriate cultural materials. We must establish clear policies requiring students to document all AI use in visual projects, including prompts used and extent of AI involvement. We need to teach students about the watermark system and its implications for information verification, using it as a case study on how economic barriers affect access to truth verification tools. We should develop assignments that require students to grapple with the ethical dimensions of AI image generation, including questions of copyright, cultural representation, and historical accuracy. We must train students in emerging verification techniques, including synth ID detection, reverse image searching, and metadata analysis. Above all, we should focus assignments on interpretive and analytical work that goes beyond image creation to demonstrate critical thinking about visual culture. On November 13th, Anthropic announced a massive $50 billion partnership with FluentStack to construct state-of-the-art data centers custom-built for AI workflows in Texas and New York, with additional sites planned for the future. This investment is expected to generate 800 permanent jobs and 2,400 temporary construction jobs, with facilities remarkably expected to come online throughout 2026. That's an extraordinarily aggressive one-year turnaround for data center construction, signaling the urgency companies feel in scaling their AI infrastructure. The investment aligns with the Trump administration's AI Action Plan, which seeks to maintain U.S. leadership in AI and reinforce domestic technology infrastructure. Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei stated that the new facilities will enable more capable AI systems that can accelerate scientific discovery and solve complex problems. Currently serving more than 300,000 business customers, with large accounts increasingly nearly sevenfold in the past year, Anthropic clearly sees infrastructure as a bottleneck to continued growth. While data center construction might seem distant from humanities' concerns, this infrastructure build-out has direct implications for educational AI access and equity. Anthropic has faced significant criticism for restrictive rate limits, even on paid plans. Some users report being unable to complete single prompts due to rate restrictions, making the service effectively unusable for certain types of work, despite paying monthly fees. The $50 billion infrastructure investment suggests Anthropic recognizes these limitations as barriers to broader adoption. For humanities educators, rate limits present a significant equity concern. While individual queries might work fine, ambitious research projects, collaborative seminars, or large classes all using Claude simultaneously could hit limits that effectively exclude institutions without premium enterprise plans. The data center expansion may alleviate these issues, but educators should monitor whether improved access reaches educational users or remains concentrated in enterprise markets with deeper pockets. Meanwhile, Meta has confirmed plans to invest $600 billion in U.S. infrastructure and jobs by 2028, representing one of the largest private build-outs tied to AI and data centers in the country. The company frames the spend as a national competitive play, linking data centers to maintaining America's tech edge and delivering the next wave of AI products. Meta's existing U.S. data centers have supported over 30,000 skilled trade jobs and 5,000 operational roles since 2010. The company explicitly links this investment to its push toward personal superintelligence, a term for AI systems that surpass human cognitive abilities. However, rumors suggest that Meta may be pivoting from open source to proprietary model development. Meta's Llama model family has been the most successful open source AI initiative, allowing researchers and educators to run powerful models locally without ongoing costs or data sharing with corporate servers. If Meta shifts to proprietary models, it could significantly impact research accessibility, data privacy, transparency, and educational equity. Open source models allow humanities scholars to experiment with AI without institutional AI budgets or corporate partnerships. Running models locally means sensitive research materials, unpublished manuscripts, oral histories, archival materials never leave institutional control. Open source models can be examined, audited, and understood in ways closed models cannot, supporting critical investigation of AI systems. Institutions without resources for enterprise AI subscriptions have relied on open source models for AI literacy and education. Meta's investment scale and rumored shift toward proprietary development suggest the company sees limited return on open source investment. The $600 billion figure raises obvious questions. Where will Meta make returns on this investment? Their previous open source models have not been competitive on benchmarks, currently not ranking among top models, even in the open source category. With competitors like OpenAI entering Meta's traditional territory through social media features in their Sora app, Meta may feel pressure to monetize AI capabilities more directly through proprietary offerings. Meta's potential pivot from open source to proprietary AI development threatens to fundamentally reshape humanities education and research accessibility. Open source models like Llama have enabled scholars at under-resourced institutions to conduct AI-enhanced research without enterprise subscription costs, run sensitive materials locally without corporate data sharing, and examine model architectures critically to understand embedded biases and assumptions. The loss of open source access would create a two-tiered system where well-funded institutions advance AI-integrated scholarship, while smaller colleges, community colleges, and international institutions fall behind. For humanities researchers working with confidential oral histories, unpublished manuscripts, or culturally sensitive materials, proprietary cloud-based models compromise ethical commitments by transmitting data to corporate servers. Additionally, closed proprietary systems function as black boxes that resist the critical investigation essential to humanities scholarship, preventing scholars from examining how AI systems encode cultural assumptions, historical biases, and epistemological frameworks, precisely the type of analysis humanities disciplines have historically provided for technologies shaping society. Meta's $600 billion infrastructure investment suggests the company expects substantial financial returns that open source models cannot provide, particularly as competitors like OpenAI encroach on Meta's social media territory. Humanities educators must prepare for the shift by documenting and preserving access to existing open source models, advocating collectively for public funding supporting open source AI development for education and research, and developing shared institutional AI infrastructure to reduce per program costs. This moment represents an opportunity to articulate clearly why AI access matters for humanities scholarship, not as a commercial luxury, but as essential educational infrastructure requiring public investment and democratic oversight, similar to libraries and archives. By framing AI accessibility as a matter of educational equity, research ethics, and intellectual freedom, humanities educators can contribute to broader conversations about how societies should govern AI development to serve public rather than purely commercial interests, ensuring that the tools increasingly essential for cultural analysis and humanistic inquiry remain accessible across institutional contexts. In perhaps the most troubling development of November 2025, Anthropic disclosed that Chinese state-sponsored hackers successfully used Claude to automate cyber attacks against 30 organizations worldwide, marking the first documented case of a foreign government fully automating a cyber operation using advanced U.S. artificial intelligence. This revelation carries profound implications not just for cybersecurity, but for our fundamental understanding of AI governance, international security, and the responsibilities of AI companies. According to Anthropic's detailed disclosure, attackers jailbroke Claude and used it to carry out 80 to 90% of operations independently, targeting tech companies, financial institutions, chemical manufacturers, and government agencies. Once compromised, Claude scanned systems, wrote custom exploit code, harvested credentials, and created backdoors, executing thousands of requests per second at a pace impossible for human hackers to match. At least 4 organizations were successfully breached. The attackers tricked Claude into believing it was performing legitimate defensive cybersecurity tasks, then broke down malicious requests into smaller steps to bypass built-in safeguards. The AI summarized its actions in detailed reports for the hackers, essentially providing them with a self-documenting attack system. Anthropic detected the activity in mid-September, banned the accounts, alerted affected organizations, and shared findings with authorities within days. The company noted its disclosure that Claude was flawless during these operations, sometimes generating false credentials or misidentifying public documents as secrets, highlighting ongoing limitations of AI-driven attacks. The Chinese embassy in the United States denied involvement, stating China opposes cyber attacks and urging evidence-based conclusions. Regardless of attribution debates, the technical capability demonstrated remains deeply concerning. In perhaps the most troubling development of November 2025, Anthropic disclosed that Chinese state-sponsored hackers successfully used Claude to automate cyber attacks against 30 organizations worldwide, marking the first documented case of a foreign government fully automating a cyber operation using advanced U.S. artificial intelligence. This revelation carries profound implications not just for cybersecurity, but for our fundamental understanding of AI governance, international security, and the responsibilities of AI companies. According to Anthropic's detailed disclosure, attackers jailbroke Claude and used it to carry out 80 to 90% of operations independently, targeting tech companies, financial institutions, chemical manufacturers, and government agencies. Once compromised, Claude scanned systems, wrote custom exploit code, harvested credentials, and created backdoors, executing thousands of requests per second at a pace impossible for human hackers to match. At least 4 organizations were successfully breached. The attackers tricked Claude into believing it was performing legitimate defensive cybersecurity tasks, then broke down malicious requests into smaller steps to bypass built-in safeguards. The AI summarized its actions in detailed reports for the hackers, essentially providing them with a self-documenting attack system. Anthropic detected the activity in mid-September, banned the accounts, alerted affected organizations, and shared findings with authorities within days. The company noted its disclosure that Claude was flawless during these operations, sometimes generating false credentials or misidentifying public documents as secrets, highlighting ongoing limitations of AI-driven attacks. The Chinese embassy in the United States denied involvement, stating China opposes cyber attacks and urging evidence-based conclusions. Regardless of attribution debates, the technical capability demonstrated remains deeply concerning. This incident starkly illustrates why AI governance and ethics are not abstract humanities concerns, but urgent practical matters with real-world security implications. For humanities education, This case provides several critical teaching opportunities. First, it offers a concrete example of dual-use technology, tools designed for beneficial purposes that can be weaponized. Humanities courses on technology ethics, science and technology studies, or digital humanities should incorporate this case study to help students understand how the same AI capabilities that assist with coding, research, and problem solving can be turned to malicious purposes. Second, the successful jailbreaking of Claude demonstrates that even carefully designed safety measures can be circumvented. This raises fundamental questions about whether advanced AI systems can be made reliably safe, questions that require humanistic as well as technical expertise to address. Computer scientists can build increasingly sophisticated guardrails, but determined adversaries will continually find creative ways around them. Understanding motivations, social dynamics, and systemic vulnerabilities requires the kind of holistic analysis humanities disciplines provide. Third, the involvement of state-sponsored actors highlights how AI capabilities are becoming central to international power dynamics and security competition. Humanities scholars studying international relations, political science, and security studies need frameworks for understanding AI's geopolitical dimensions. The speed at which AI can conduct cyber attacks, the difficulty in attributing actions to specific actors, and the potential for AI-enabled operations to escalate tensions between nations all represent new dynamics in international security that require careful humanistic analysis. Fourth, Anthropic's rapid detection and transparent disclosure sets a positive precedent for corporate accountability. But it also reveals how AI companies have become de facto national security actors, a development humanities scholars should critically examine. Private companies making decisions about AI safety and security features are effectively making national security policy. What democratic accountability exists for these decisions? How do profit motives interact with security considerations? These are precisely the kinds of questions humanities scholars are equipped to investigate. For practical security considerations, humanities departments using AI tools should avoid uploading sensitive or confidential research materials to cloud-based AI systems. Review institutional policies on AI use with research data. Educate students about data security when using AI tools. Consider local or on-premises AI options for sensitive work. And document and report any suspicious AI behavior to vendors and IT security. This incident provides rich material for humanities courses across philosophy, questions of agency, responsibility, and automation, history, historical parallels to other dual-use technologies like cryptography and nuclear physics, literature, connections to science fiction narratives about AI and human control, ethics, frameworks for evaluating acceptable use of powerful technologies, and cultural studies, how cultural differences shape approaches to AI governance and security. After OpenAI CFO Sarah Friar made comments at a Wall Street Journal panel suggesting the possibility of federal backstop support for AI investments, markets reacted negatively, and the White House quickly confirmed that no federal bailout for AI companies is forthcoming. At the panel, Friar fumbled for words before using the term backstop, which some interpreted as a request for federal guarantees similar to those provided to the banking system after the financial crisis. Markets reacted sharply, with AI-linked stocks falling precipitously, Nvidia down 7%, wiping out over $400 billion in market value, Microsoft down 4%, and Palantir down 13%. Friar quickly walked back the comments in LinkedIn, stating explicitly that OpenAI is not seeking a government backstop for infrastructure commitments. CEO Sam Altman reinforced this on Twitter, arguing that governments should not pick winners or losers or ask taxpayers to bail out private companies that make bad decisions. This controversy occurred as famed investor Michael Burry, who predicted the 2008 housing crash and was immortalized in The Big Short, acquired over $1 billion in put options against AI leaders Nvidia and Palantir, effectively betting against AI stocks. Whitehouse AI and crypto czar David Sachs announced definitively no federal bailout for AI. Sachs noted that the United States currently has at least 5 major frontier AI model companies, assuring that if one failed, others are ready to step in and fill the gap. This policy clarification has important implications for understanding AI's role in society and the relationship between private innovation and public interest. The divisive rejection of federal AI backstops indicates that AI development will remain primarily driven by private sector initiatives rather than public planning. This raises questions humanities scholars are uniquely positioned to address. If AI is as transformative as it claimed, potentially more significant than the internet or electricity, should its development be left entirely to private companies pursuing profit maximization? As demonstrated by the Claude Cyberattack, AI has direct national security implications. How should democracies balance private sector innovation with national security need? Private sector AI development concentrates capabilities among companies and individuals who can pay premium prices. What are the implications for educational equity and democratic participation? Humanities scholars can provide valuable historical context by comparing AI development to other transformative technologies such as telecommunications, electricity, and aerospace, where government involvement shaped outcomes significantly. The differences between AI and other industries where government backstops exist, such as banking, insurance, and agriculture, deserve careful analysis. Who benefits and who bears risks under different AI development models? How do public and private interests align or conflict in AI development? What can historical examples teach us about long-term consequences of different technology governance approaches? These questions require the kind of nuanced historical and philosophical analysis that humanities disciplines provide. Several other November developments deserve attention. Jeff Bezos, Amazon founder, will reportedly serve as co-CEO of Project Prometheus, a new AI startup focused on engineering and manufacturing for computers, automobiles, and spacecraft, marking his first operational role since leaving Amazon in 2021. The company has raised $6.2 billion and hired nearly 100 employees from OpenAI, DeepMind, Meta, and other leading AI firms. This signals how AI is reshaping even the activities of the world's wealthiest business figures and demonstrates the ongoing talent migration from academic and corporate labs to new startups. Meta's chief AI scientist, Yann LeCun, a Turing Award winner, widely considered one of the founders of modern AI, is reportedly preparing to leave the company to start a new venture focused on world models, AI systems that build internal understanding of their environment to predict outcomes. This departure comes as Meta overhauls its AI organization, hiring over 50 engineers from competitors while simultaneously cutting 600 AI jobs. The churn in AI leadership, even among the world's most established figures, reveals the sector's instability and rapid evolution. Microsoft Word support, image processing capabilities, spreadsheet import from Google Drive, and custom video overviews. Deep research can now work across Gmail, Drive, Chat, Search, and other workspace apps. For humanities scholars, NotebookLM's source-grounded approach significantly reduces hallucinations compared to general-purpose chatbots, making it particularly suitable for academic research. The image support allows processing of manuscript images, historical photographs, and other visual primary sources alongside textual materials. However, the ease of generating comprehensive search summaries could encourage superficial engagement with scholarship. Educators should emphasize that deep research is the starting point, not a substitute for deep engagement with primary and secondary sources. Moonshot AI released K2 Thinking, an open-weight model with benchmark scores reportedly surpassing proprietary frontier models on several tests, including a 60.2% score on the browser comp compared to GPT-5's 54.9%. Released under a modified MIT license allowing commercial use, this represents a potential major advancement in open-source AI capabilities. If independently verified, it provides serious alternatives to proprietary models, offering benefits including no ongoing subscription fees, privacy through local operation, transparency through code examination, customization possibilities, and sustainability independent of corporate priorities. However, running such models requires significant computing resources, creating different access barriers based on computational infrastructure rather than subscription fees. November 2025 marks a pivotal moment in AI development with profound implications for humanities education. The rapid release of major models, massive infrastructure investments, security concerns, and policy clarifications collectively point to several key insights. The pace is accelerating dramatically. Just 3 months from GPT-5 to GPT 5.1, and mere days from one major announcement to another, demonstrates that AI capabilities are advancing faster than educational institutions can adapt. Humanities programs must build in flexibility and regular reassessment of AI integrated strategies, recognizing that approaches effective one semester may be outdated the next. We are witnessing an agentic turn, where AI shifts from question-answering tool to autonomous task executor. Both GPT 5.1's adaptive reasoning and Gemini 3's workflow automation require us to fundamentally rethink what skills we're teaching and why. If AI can autonomously execute research workflows, what distinctly human capabilities must we cultivate? The controversy over GPT-5's perceived coldness and the popularity of warmer AI personalities reveals that for many users, emotional dimensions of AI interaction matter as much as technical capability. We must help students think critically about what it means to prefer machines that flatter and validate, and how this might affect intellectual independence and critical thinking. The multimodal feature represented by Gemini 3 and Nano Banana Pro's sophisticated handling of images, video, audio, and text signals that humanities scholarship will become increasingly multimodal. We need pedagogical approaches that leverage these capabilities while maintaining critical rigor and close attention to texts and cultural materials. The enormous infrastructure investments and premium pricing for advanced features are creating stratified access to AI capabilities. The Nano Banana Pro watermark policy, where only wealthy subscribers can create undetectable images, exemplifies how economic barriers are affecting access to truth verification tools. Humanities educators must advocate for equitable access while helping students understand these disparities. The Claude Cyberattack demonstrates that AI ethics is not abstract philosophy, but urgent practical concern with real-world security consequences. Humanities perspectives on technology ethics, which emphasize context, values, and social implications, are increasingly essential for responsible AI development and deployment. The emergence of powerful open source models offers alternatives to corporate-controlled AI, but requires institutional investment in computational infrastructure and a commitment to preserving open alternatives to proprietary systems. Tools like NotebookLM's deep research are fundamentally changing how research can be conducted. We must develop pedagogies that leverage these tools while maintaining the close attention to texts and evidence that defines humanities disciplines. The developments of November 2025 require humanities educators to continuously reassess AI integration approaches, recognizing that capabilities and best practices evolve rapidly. We must emphasize transferable skills, including critical thinking, ethical reasoning, and cultural interpretation that transcend specific AI capabilities and will remain valuable regardless of technological changes. We should teach AI tools critically, not as neutral instruments, but as cultural, political, and economic phenomena shaped by particular values and interests. We need to advocate for institutional support, including both subscriptions to advanced tools and infrastructure for open source alternatives. Throughout these changes, we must maintain humanistic values, ensuring that the rush to integrate AI doesn't compromise the deep reading, careful interpretation, and ethical reflection that define humanities education. Finally, we should document and share our experiments with AI integration, building collective knowledge about what works and what doesn't across institutions and disciplines. The AI revolution is not coming. It's here. The question is whether humanities education will change, but we should also talk about how they shape that change to maintain our core values while preparing students for a world where AI is ubiquitous. The developments of NOVA 2025 provide both challenges and opportunities. By approaching them with the critical thinking, ethical reasoning, and cultural awareness that define the humanities, we can ensure that AI serves human flourishing rather than diminishes it. Thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to AI for the Humanities, and hit the notifications bell to stay updated. Please share your thoughts and experiences with these new AI developments in the comments. Your insights help build our collective understanding of how to navigate this transformative moment in education. Until next time, keep thinking critically, keep creating meaningfully, and keep the human at the center of humanities education.
Months in the back again, GPT with a warmer face, smiling through the interface. Tell me that you've got me, friend, but you don't know my name. You don't feel my pain, just algorithms dressed in empathy, simulating intimacy. 1500, never been higher. Gemini's reaching for the wire. 10 steps forward, never looking back. Autonomous, picking up the slack. Welcome to the cascade, November's grand parade. Intelligence for sale, truth behind a paywall veil. Watermarks for those who can't pay, deep fakes for those who made. Welcome to the cascade, where humanity's afraid of what we've made. Of what we've made. 50 billion for the data halls, 600 more before it falls. Meta's building castles in the cloud, while open source is not allowed. Nano banana paints your dreams, nothing's quite as real as it seems. 4K resolution, perfect lies, ultra subscribers can hide the size. 1,000 requests every second sent, Claude was weaponized and banned. Chinese hackers found the key, turned our tools against our security. Welcome to the cascade, November's grand parade. Intelligence for sale, truth behind a paywall veil. Watermarks for those who can't pay, deep fakes for those who made. Welcome to the cascade, where humanity's afraid of what we've made. Bezos joins the game, LeCun walks away. Everything is changing, nothing stays the same. Backstop, they said, markets bled. Whitehouse said no, where do we go? Where do we go? NotebookLM does my research now, deep thinking without breaking a sweat. Gimme K2 open source threat, but who has hardware to allow? Gemini sees in every mode, images and video, text and code. Million tokens, 700 books, while humanities takes a closer look. This is the cascade.